You know, this is good promotion.
All right, what is
Maybe.
your name and where are you from?
My name is Lloyd Floyd, and I'm from Fort Lee, New Jersey.
He's from New Jersey too.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Where?
I don't remember. I don't think I asked.
Not worth
him.
remembering. It's Jersey. Where are you from? Jersey. Next question. Where did you live after that?
Some people are specific with where they're from. From me doing these interviews, some people don't want to talk about where they're from at all. There's a lot of people in New York who are running from something.
No shit. No shit. I met
So
a
they
lot
want to
this
leave.
summer.
Yeah, they want to leave their past behind.
Dad,
so
it's
they don't
worse
want
than
to talk
Vegas
about.
out here.
Yeah. They don't want to talk about their hometown.
It is
so.
the 21st century, and they all came here post-COVID times. Like a lot of riffraff blew into New York.
Right.
And like I met a bunch of people just posting up various neighborhoods and having fun with the Trump money this summer. Hey there, kids. I'm Lloyd Floyd. You might have seen me in Hell's Kitchen or Morningside or a bunch of other places, Soho and Chinatown, with a boombox, the Black Lives Matter shirt on, and playing angry punk and metal. And all these people came to talk to me. I saw the people that stayed in the hostels and the hotels, riff-fucking-raff, and they're from all over the country. I'm like, why did you come to New York during COVID times? The streets were empty. There's no traffic. I walked barefoot from fucking Penn Station to Port Authority on 7th Avenue. I walked barefoot up the highway, and there was no cars. And like all the people that were out were riff-raff, and I ain't talking Rocky Horror.
Was New York always like that, or is this a new phenomenon?
Certainly not. It became like New York under Giuliani and Bloomberg.
Oh, they
Giuliani
kicked out all the riffraff.
snapped all the riffraff up and everything. The only thing we did have was a lot of homeless. Homelessness in itself is not a crime. That is a terrible shame. But what we saw during the COVID lockdown was like Bartertown from Mad Max 3, dude. It was completely fucking... It was worse than the Old West. It's Daryl Hannah over there.
Now, let me ask you this.
She just married Neil Young.
Where were you coming from before you came here?
You gotta see Spirit of Spines. Where I'm coming from is a place of mine. Where I'm coming from is your mama's womb. When I'm blowing the mind, Spirit Spine. So if your star's angel. That's Marcos.
Where are you going once you leave here?
Well, that wasn't a serious answer, man. Where I'm coming from is voiceover and cartoons and video games. Like I'm the Joker, DC Super Friends Online, Luke Skywalker, LucasArts, Sony, Disney, Marvel, and Lego, making me the only Joker Jedi besides Mark Hamill himself. More Grand Theft Autos, more Rockstar video games than any actor, as more characters. So that's where I'm coming from. Where I'm going is I'm going to start a band. I grew out my hair, I lost a bunch of weight, and the industry doesn't know I can sing. I'm starting a rock band. It's gonna sing angry music, kind I played on the streets this summer. Should be quite good. Beware TikTok.
Now, you're in the show business.
I am in the show business. Yeah.
Do you want to tell the folks out there where they can find you online?
Where you can find me online? Well, I mean, there's the Lloyd Floyd Network, which is my YouTube channel. You check in the playlist, and I've got all the Joker stuff, all the Luke Skywalker stuff, along with a course in Jediism. That Luke Skywalker playlist has a lot of heavy shit, all in audiobook format. And it's got the early years. You can see me in commercials when I'm 10. And other GTA stuff and Old Republic. Yeah, I was auditioning alongside, the brother of, oh shit, I'm going to come with it in a second. It's on the tip of my tongue. Jason Bateman. Brian Bloom, C.B. Barnes, or Chris Barnes, who now voices Spider-Man, which is cool, and Allison Smith, who was the first Annie, and she was in Kate and Allie, that series. Like, we all used to audition together.
I remember that.
I'd see them. Like, Jason Bateman was the coolest because, like, he was nice to me as a kid.
He wasn't a snob? I
played Dungeons and Dragons. It's not like they were snobs, just you caught heat for playing D&D back in the days. It was not like today where you pay $20 an hour to play in a chic place in fucking Brooklyn. Like, you know, it was like frowned upon. So all these other kids make fun of me for being a geek. Those four were mad fucking cool to me. And I got to see him later on. We were both adults. I saw him in a sound studio. And I told him, I thanked him, and he was like, oh, cool.
He remembered you?
He didn't, but I got to tell him what I did. You know, I mean, I look all different now, you know? It's like, he never would have known.
A lot can happen in 20 years.
Oh, it was so nice to see him and to congratulate him and stuff. And still, to this day, my favorite of his roles was in, there was some series back in the day about
Hogan's
a class.
Family.
It was a class series, like classroom series and stuff, and this guy gave the most shit to his teacher. It was Jason Bateman. He's fucking hysterical. And the other one was Hancock. Those two are the best.
Now, were you finished with plugging your social media?
Oh, I suppose you could also just Google me and go to Internet Movie Database where you can see all the video games you can kill me in, over 30. Floyd.com, I think, just got, what do you call it, owned or something like that. So I shot my press pack up on there, which is brand new. You can Google Invaders from Above. Kevin Marr just finished the film circuit with 3 awards. What else? Jesus Christ. And just Google me. Like, you know, Wikipedia is fun. Wikipedia has yet to be updated. I looked at it and, like, there's a bunch of stuff. It's messy and there's all kinds of misinformation. So I gotta clean that up, so I don't know how to yet. Internet Movie Database.
Now, you are a voice guy.
Indeed.
Do your best New York accent right now.
My best New York accent. It's the one I naturally use when somebody's shaking me down. I say, what the fuck? This guy thinks who the fuck he is. You fucking cocksucker. Not giving you 15% above the Vic. What are you trying to do? You bleed me fucking dry, fangool. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I like that.
I do appreciate the lack of applause after.
Fantastic. Now, next question. If you weren't in New York, where do you think you would be?
6 feet under, man. 6 feet under.
So it's this or nothing?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. But why go there? People tend to be small-minded in the rest of the United States, and I've seen it. And overseas travel is just like, I don't travel well. It's too fucking much, you know? Like, if you just hang out in New York long enough, the rest of the world will come to you, you know? So I'm like Socrates, he never left Athens.
So you're not an LA guy like some of the other ones?
I've been, but I don't drive, so media, and there's no sidewalks. So that puts me at odds in the first place. I mean, I'm sure I would be a California guy, so long as somebody else were able to drive me to the marijuana dispensary.
So you have found your place and you're not going anywhere?
Well, I mean, New York kind of claimed me, you know? I started the biz and I got successful and I have a good resume. It's like, man, I fucking like it here. You can walk everywhere. I mean, you don't have parks like this in the rest of the country. I kept saying when I was posted up in the streets this summer with the all this stuff around me, and well, whatever the case, when people would walk by me and it looked like I was assed out and everything, I'd look at them and be like, still beats the shit out of LA or London or Paris. New York, you have better experiences. Parks like this, interviews like this don't always occur. They don't have town squares. Boston has town squares, but doesn't have scenes like this, even though with all those colleges, you'd think it would. New York has the colleges and the open spaces and the culture and the grit. What makes New York special is it's got all the sin of Vegas and New Orleans and Reno and all these fucking places, all rolled up into a very small, packed environment. It's good. That's why so much great art comes out of New York.
Let me stand for a while because my back is hurting.
Sure, man.
Let me know if you want to change positions.
I appreciate you letting me be comfortable.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, next question. You are an experienced actor.
Aye.
What advice? Well, let me say that there's a lot of people around here in New York who all want to do what you do.
Well,
what advice do you have for those
now there's not many
folks?
people doing what I did because COVID sort of like put the kibosh on a large chunk of entertainment. However, my advice right now is A, take the free money. B, sit in a place that's quiet. Perfect your craft while you have all the time in the world with the free money. If you are unable to make good art on your own in isolation, do not attempt professional art. If you sit back after the art that you've created, when you have isolation time and you're like, this is my brainchild, if you come out with a turd, go into accounting or manage somebody that's in the arts. But if when given the downtime and enough bread, which uniquely in America's history right now you have as an artist, as any artist, you right now have all this bread to deal with, all this emergency bread. What do you fucking do with it? If you're an artist to the bone, make good fucking art. Make the content, because we are sorely lacking content right now. Then decide the platform. That is my advice. As far as money, I have no fucking advice. If you want money, become a businessman or a politician. If you want cultural significance, become an artist.
No.
Not that I haven't made money at it, but money isn't the goal. Money is a byproduct of good art.
Okay, ready for the next one?
Seems to be. Great profusion.
Game changers. You've been around for a while. What have been some game changers in your life?
Hip hop. Oh my God, when rap came out, that was a fucking game changer. Absolutely. What was another game changer? Other than that, no.
Would you say like show business has gotten easier, harder? Has any?
There's been a huge cultural shift. There's no more There's no more anti-establishment, anti-war, anti-fucking government, anti-anything in music. Are you fucking kidding me? The 60s were a dismal failure. And like when they introduced the notion, the new music revolution in 92, when classic rock stations started calling themselves classic rock and changing out the entire format, music catalog, and suddenly there's no more, there's all the rebellious rock and rollers back in the day, they're old men. They don't fucking count, all that fucking shit. So I would say the game changer, I mentioned first hip hop, and then I mentioned alternative, the new music revolution is what they put it out. They were like, welcome to the music revolution. You fooled people. The Who, don't get fooled, won't get fooled again. You fooled people into thinking that just by changing the playlist, you've given them some kind of revolution when you've not.
Now, how important is marriage to you?
Well, it was my only reality show, so I suppose it was pretty important. It's good to have on a resume. But I'll say this, you can't really be taken seriously as a celebrity in the United States until you've had at least 2 wives. So I suppose the next one is much more important. Some celebrities make an entire career over who they're marrying or who they're breaking up with, as you can see on the front of tabloid papers. Now, I don't get paid for tabloid papers, and I'm not in tabloid papers. So it's less important to me than it is to say Jennifer Aniston or Johnny Depp.
Okay, next question. Ancestry, how important is that to you? A lot of people nowadays are sending off their DNA to websites, and they tell them where they originally came from. Is that important to you?
Well, a note on that. It's odd, my mother had her ancestry done, and all the other things that came back, whatever percentage, was a region, an area, a place. But on the very top of the sheet, it said 55% Jewish. And I says to myself, I've been to 7th and 8th grade, and I know what geography is, I know what religions are. It seemed to me that was sinister, and I thought, Hitler would have a field day if he were able to test somebody and say, you are 55% Jewish, so I thought that was like harsh and stuff. When I ran it by my Jewish relatives, oddly, they said, no, Jews are a race unto themselves. And I said, I'm sorry, there is no genetic marker for monotheism, and if you take a person who's biologically Jewish, 55% Jewish, and you put them in a polytheistic environment, they will only espouse or learn what they read. So I think you should either say you're 55% Middle Eastern or Eastern European, but I don't think that you should put a religion as a genetic marker. Oddly, after I mentioned this to people, the head priest, the head chief rabbi in Israel, got asked to step down because he was genetically testing Jews in order for them to get a marriage license. There's no such thing as a secular marriage in Israel. You can only get a religious marriage, and you have to be Jewish. If you're not Jewish by blood, too fucking bad. Well, the way they were testing it was through DNA. There's guys with curls and big furry hats from Eastern Europe that were like, what the fuck, you think this is for fun? So they made him step down. So it was an advance, because there is a difference between genetics and eugenics, right? And thinking that 55% of my blood is pure Jewish blood is fucking eugenics. Chosen people equals master race. So we shouldn't be thinking like that as far as genetic tests. They can be either good or bad, because people are doing their genetic tests to try to find their racial purity, and that went out with mustard gas.
Next question. What is the weirdest thing you've seen or heard in this park?
Wow, I'm so glad you asked that. This is the first time I bought acid here. It was back in 80. It was the only time I bought acid here, in fact. Every other time it was meth. It was from a guy named Clay. And it was, I think it was 85 and 86 is when I started coming here to buy that. Well, I came with Donna Beer and Kevin Napoli and Sterling Brown. We all went down towards those benches over there. We saw a guy named Uncle Joey. I had asked another girl in my high school, do you know where I can get acid? She just looked at me like, freaked out, right? But I knew her since I was a kid. We went over to buy from Uncle Joey. She's sitting next to Uncle Joey. I was like, hey, Gabrielle. Uncle Joey, what do you got? Pink perf. So we ate the pink perf, came over here and sat down. This was a mob scene at night in 85, 86. Fucking mob scene. There was no police cameras yet. The first guy to get busted out here was David Lee Roth. And that's how everybody stopped coming to the park for years and years. But on this particular night, it was Friday night. I just gotten paid I was working at a barber shop, and I had like $110 in my pocket, a lot of fucking money. So we sat over there, and as we're sitting, some guy walks by, and he says, hey, you got a menthol cigarette? Looking for a menthol cigarette. Anybody got a menthol cigarette? None of us did. It was code. Some guy's like, yeah, I got a menthol cigarette. Suddenly there's bags and scales and all this shit coming down and everything. He's weighing it out, he's doing his deal. He starts arguing with the guy, right? Big argument start, but I'm so spun. I'm just sitting there. We bought hash from a guy next to us. Totally spun. somebody pulls me to the side just as a bike gets thrown down where I was sitting. I'm like, holy shit, right? Then the guy who they're arguing with gets thrust down in the seat next to me, and he's the guy that used to sell us mescaline. And I go, hey, Clay! And he's like, I can't talk right now, man. He runs off. The guy picks up the bike who had just thrown it and asks, does anybody have a knife? Somebody handed him a knife, got on the bike, sped off after Clay. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen in this park.
Very dramatic indeed.
Well, you asked the craziest thing. I was just there.
That's
I
probably
didn't
one
feel
of the
any fear.
most.
I felt no fear because of the acid. I'll note that.
That's one of the most interesting responses I've had so far.
Just being honest, it was a long time ago, and this park ain't like that anymore. The park used to be fucking wild. Like, I started coming here in '84 and hanging out with the punks over there at the far side. And then, as it got like busier at night and everything, we'd start walking around. My brother taught me how to buy pot here when I was like 15. He says, walk around this inner circle and look like you're lost. And this was the first place I ever bought herb.
How has this park changed since '85?
There's better looking girls now.
Really?
Quite.
Are they local girls or NYU girls, or what are they? People
I
just
don't
live
know.
who just live around here?
I don't know. I mean, it's only my third time hanging out here, like in recent times. I had no idea there was still a scene down here. I came down here once over the summer. I saw a bunch of skaters. I was like, huh. Then I came back one other time, and there's a jam going on over there. I'm a singer. So I just joined in. Yeah. Girls come up, like, left and right. And they're really attractive girls, and they talk to you. Like, they don't let you just be alone and sit. They talk to you. They make damn sure they're in your face. So I came back for a second jam. Somebody should do a show here. I mean, if you can get amplified instruments and stuff, it'd be a decent place. That guy gathers a crowd, and he's just got a piano. I mean, nobody used to, you don't know, this park was dead with paranoia for so long, because when they installed the police cameras, it was the only place in New York that had police cameras on it. This is where a lot of weed got sold. So when David Lee Roth himself of Van Halen got busted, we were all like, fuck that. We avoid it like the plague. Washington Square's a bust. Now, there's police cameras everywhere. And, like, there's so much medical marijuana and decriminalization in the 5 boroughs as of 2 years ago on August 3rd or something like that, August 1st. Like, now it's a whole different vibe in the park because the noose has lightened up a bit. You know, they used to have a pro-marijuana rally at the Arch every year on 420. People were scared there that cops would bust them. Now it's a much more relaxed environment, and you know, drugs and music do bring hot girls. It's known to do that.
I've noticed that. Do you speak any foreign languages?
Ja, ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch, ich hablo español.
Would you like to say something cool in either one of those languages or both?
I'd try one in Middle Egyptian.
Okay, go ahead.
Kenti amenti uchetebeti, an uchetebeti, and kan aus arma keru.
Very, very
Need a
good.
translation? You just believe that's Middle Egyptian.
I'll just take your
Just
word
buy
for
it,
it.
buy it.
What does that mean? Translate it for us.
It is may the foremost of the Westerners and Anubis give an offering to the spiritual double or Ka, part of the soul that receives offerings, of the deceased true of voice. That's what it means. It's the standard offering formula.
Very, very deep.
Thanks, man.
You are by far the deepest guy
Oh shit!
on this channel
Don't
so
tell
far.
anybody that. Don't. Hey, fucking people want to lynch me for being deep, man. They don't like it. They don't like it.
But there's people, I'm sure there's people out there on YouTube looking for deep or depth.
I don't know. I am new to this 21st century and new to this YouTube and online things. I am, as they say, old.
Well, that's the thing with social media. By the time you figure out what's in style, that's already out of style. And then
That's
something
why
else is in
I
style.
leave it to my manager, who like picks out the online platforms, and I supply the content, such as this. Would you say I take well to the internet?
I say you do, definitely.
Would you say America's ready for Lloyd Floyd? Well, at least visually.
I think they've been yearning for Lloyd Floyd.
I know I have. Ain't met him yet.
They need something like you on the
You haven't asked for an
internet.
impression. I do 1,036 impressions.
That is actually one of my questions.
Really?
That is coming up.
That's
so
hysterical.
just go for that right now.
That's hysterical.
You know, a lot of people, little man, your father wanted you to have this at some point, but your father was a pussy. He got beaten up. I beat him up. I beat your fucking father up. He's a pussy, so I'm not giving you the thing that he wanted you to have. I want you to have balls.
Thanks very much.
I feel
Not
that.
bad, right?
Yes.
Eh.
Very nice.
Just
Very
tricks.
good impression.
Just parlor tricks.
Yeah, a lot of people are unable to do impersonation.
How about
But
Morgan Freeman?
was it really?
No, it was Chris Walken. I said,
How about a Morgan Freeman?
Oh, how about it? Let's go for that.
Hysterical.
Go for that as well.
What a host! To all those athletes who competed in this year's Winter Olympics and didn't win a medal but had a great time anyway. Visa salutes you.
Fantastic.
Eh?
That's great.
Parlor tricks.
Now, next question. Where have you been? States, countries?
Sure, I can't remember all of them. Switzerland was fun. Switzerland was rather fun. Geneva. I've been to Geneva.
That's the French part, right?
I went to the convention.
Where would you like to go in the future? States, countries?
Valhalla.
Where's that?
Well, it's the Viking afterworld. Oh,
So it's
boy.
not
Well, I
like...
really look cheesy saying that, right? No, don't you watch Thor? Don't you watch Thor?
No, I've seen the comic book,
Thor's
but
the
that's
only
about
real
it.
Avenger. Okay,
Yeah.
all those other guys are like made-up characters. Thor was worshipped by hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh, right, he's like a Scandinavian.
His living image is thunder.
Yeah.
The god of thunder, mighty Thor.
Now let me ask you this. You've been around for a while. What's the dating scene looking like right now?
I have no fucking clue. That's one thing you definitely shouldn't concentrate on as an artist. You'll be eaten alive.
Now,
Sing and they will come up to you. That's what it's like. Here's the dating scene in New York. You come out, if you got chops, you sing in a park. And these days, you get approached by 1,000 girls. That's what the dating scene is like.
now let me ask you this. In terms of dating, what works and what doesn't work? You've told me what works,
I
the
know,
singing,
I'm a
right?
freak. I have
What
no idea.
doesn't
Why
work?
are you asking this? Well, that's odd. Well, for you, definitely what works is more
Well,
colorful
for the audience,
clothing
for the
and not
audience.
dressing like an otaku.
For the audience out there.
For the audience out there, well, if you like a tourist who's able to cook and loves museums, dating may work for you.
Dating apps, have you tried any?
Never. There are real human beings out there. I shan't stoop so low. There never seems to be a shortage of someone to annoy you or someone to make you happy, one or the other, but they're always around. I hear half the world's population is the opposite sex. I suggest going out and actually talking to them rather than going on some stupid app.
Now, next question. How do you know if you could trust a business? Do you walk in there?
I don't. I'm
do you
terribly
look at
gullible.
reviews? What do you do?
What kind of business?
Like any kind of business. Like, let's say
Well, I
you're...
mean, if it's like an herb dealer, you know you can trust the guy because your friends have smoked it and they know it's good and have been ripped
so
off.
word of mouth.
Indeed. But as far as like, a business, reputable business,
Contractor, anything like that.
no fucking clue. I'm so far removed from the business sector, it's ridiculous. I keep my head in books and art.
But what about, let's say you're looking for an apartment, though. That's like a business transaction.
You ask a friend
How do you
who's
know
looking
if you
for
can trust the owner?
landlord?
Yeah.
I don't. And I've
Because,
no way of
there's a
knowing.
lot of questionable landlords who try to keep people's deposits and all that
Don't
stuff.
I know it? I've seen it all over the place. Rev Jen Miller, case in point. Mizrahi. But I have no idea how to trust a landlord or something like that. I seem to luck out frequently. And I ask people that I know, like you say, word of mouth. You have an adequate network. It's not about having a lot of friends, it's about having the right friends. So that's what it's about. Not just in entertainment, but also in life, housing, everything. You have the right friends. You have Joe and Carlos in East Harlem, phenomenal friends, and they shared an apartment with me for a while. It was the best time I'd had in literally 20 years. That was the best fucking time. But as far as their landlord and that kind of stuff like that, if you're gonna live alone, good fucking luck. Have a lot of money. But if you're gonna live with people, have a good network and trust your friends.
What is the secret to creating that perfect social circle in New York?
Don't try. There are too many vampires, sycophants, vultures, and mosquitoes. Especially if you're successful in the arts. I would suggest not venturing forth into a social circle if you're a serious artist, because that's a waste of time. Social media is one thing. Socializing is quite another. There's far too much to read. Newton was right. He didn't socialize during his entire time at Cambridge. And it was a time of great socialization out in London. Didn't do it. And as a result, he invented the calculus.
Now, next question.
Brian May looks like him. He helped put a satellite on Pluto, he helped put a satellite past Pluto so that they could gather information on it. Like he is like Sir Isaac Newton. He's a physicist as well.
Next question. What are some good places to film videos like this in New York?
Well, let's see. Here, Tompkins Square Park, Sheep Meadow. Those are 3 places I know. It's where I hang out.
Do you
I
have
don't
any?
hang out in Tompkins Square Park, actually.
Do you have any special talents other than acting and voice and music?
I was a professional chef for 10 years. Quite good at ritual magic. An expert in world religions and Egyptology. Rabbis say I'm Orthodox.
How did you become so talented? Most people are only good at 1 or 2 things, or not even good at 1 or 2 things.
I had the great misfortune to be born knowing how to do a lot of or when I tried my hand at things, I was able to do them. Never had art classes I can draw. I had some formal training in writing, but like voice lessons, very few. Like I'm just able to do these things. And I haven't had schooling on it. No acting classes and such. So it's like, I don't know how. Guided by voices. It's scary sometimes.
Yeah.
And people tend not to like you for it.
When the pandemic ends, what do you hope to do? Do you hope to do some shows?
Oh, go to Spain and play rock and roll there. They're fucking huge on Spain, huge on rock and roll in Barcelona. I should like to do a show in Barcelona. Barcelona and Japan are 2 places I'd like to play. Like as long as you can travel and stuff like that. I'd like to do some overseas gigs. New York is great, and the crowds here are great. But the rock and roll scene isn't mythologized like in those 2 places. You have to go to a foreign country now to really have crowds be like, Bust out Ramones here, and people are like, okay. Bust out Ramones in Spain, and like they have a street named after AC/DC. It's like ridiculous. So those are some things I'd like to do. Play more rock and roll.
5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
With a band, doing well. Fuck yeah, still doing
Still in
voiceover.
New York, owning a house?
Having published a book or 2. Still living in New York. I don't know where I'll live in New York, but I'll definitely live in New York. But I'd like to have 2 books published, a band, and continue doing voiceover.
Are you starting with the book already or no?
Yeah, I got 2 sample chapters and all that stuff, and we'll see how they go over. I've yet to send them out, but the content's there. Like I said, the first thing you do is make the content. Then you decide on what to do with it. I'm really cool is that there, as far as memoirs and stuff like that go, Simon & Schuster is a big publisher of them. They just got bought by the Germans. Ausgezeichnet. And Penguin's a part of that also. I have a lot of Penguin books. So it's, in order to have lasting cultural relevance, the only way is the written word. That's for sure. Madonna is now mocked whenever she goes on stage. People don't know the material of Lenny Bruce or George Carlin. This guy didn't know who Brian May was. The only lasting cultural relevance is through the written word.
Now, you've got a lot of content out there, or you have some content. How do you make sure you don't get taken advantage of by dodgy managers?
Well, you work
People
with
want to take
agents.
advantage of talent.
You don't sign with them. Like when you talk reputable, like stuff like that, either the contract is in your favor, which helps to know contracts a bit, which after a while in the business, you'll see them and you know them. And the other thing is to see who else is with that agency. So either an agency or a manager. And if you don't like what they do, you don't sign with them. Anybody can put you out on a case-by-case basis. Don't pick up that pen. That's how you keep yourself out of trouble. And of course, always go union. There's a reason why I'm SAG-AFTRA. And like a lot of people have gone FICOR and they're being horribly ganked. Like you'll see the voiceover come down in quality on a lot of network national ads because people are buying you out for like $2,000 on like a national campaign. They're getting some non-union or FICOR schmuck. Notwithstanding the fact that now agencies like Atlas have non-union departments, entire departments, and people as high profile as Shelley Shinoy are FICOR. So it's a different milieu. I've never scabbed, and I don't want to do non-union work, so I've not declared FICOR. I'd rather take the pay cut in the short term and come out on top in the long run, because the most I ever got paid for a half an hour recording session was $64,000. Fucking Aflac pigeon. Just a commercial, and commercials where you make your money. and always stay union, because that's the backup. You know, it's not just about having an agent or a manager take advantage of you. The union ensures that they don't do that and that everything's done by the books. So that's does that answer it?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
I hope it
In-depth
helps for
analysis.
people out there. Like, it costs a lot of money to get into the union, but in the long run, if you're going to get the work, it's fucking ain't worth it. And once you declare FICOR here, you cannot switch back to regular union status. That's it, it's done. Not for me. I've been union since '82.
What videos do you watch?
Anti-hero skateboards. Can't get enough of it. Best soundtrack. Endlessly entertaining. They're a bunch of fucking degenerates. Oh my god, it's hours of fun. Another good one? Death Wish skateboards. Skateboard videos have better soundtracks than original MTV. Oh, they're fucking amazing. It's always something entertaining to watch because they're either fucking off, messing with somebody, or doing incredible gravity-defying tricks. So that's definitely my recommendations these days.
Now, during the months of March and April, everything was shut down. What were you doing?
Hanging out with my buddies in East Harlem.
Inside or outside?
Yeah, inside. We would cook 4 meals a day. I do like clam chowder from scratch. I gained like 20 pounds, man.
Right.
Oh, it's hysterical.
That's
that
the
was
benefit
fun.
of being a chef.
That was fun. We would drink shit tons of beer and cook. I would cook all day long, man. They'd Google shit on YouTube and they'd be like, Google shit on YouTube. They'd look up videos on YouTube and be like, how about we do Cambodian pork chops? I'm like, what's that? Okay. Fucking learn how to make Cambodian pork chops. They're fucking insanely good. And I did gumbo from scratch. My first gumbo in like a long time. I think it was only my second ever gumbo. That was insane. Pastas and I made a lasagna that wasn't even done yet. We decided to dig it out of the pan. Goo, fucking goo everywhere. It was insane. It was lovely. See, that guy doesn't sing. That guy doesn't sing, and that's the problem. He spent $200 on some girl. If he sang, they'd spend money on him. Patron of the arts.
Yep,
That is the difference.
absolutely. What motivates you in life? You seem like a guy who's motivated to be going this long and still going strong.
Oddly enough, 'tis the quest for enlightenment. Oddly enough, what motivates me to even stay alive is the hopes of gaining enlightenment in this very lifetime. And it may sound ridiculous, but I've read the owner's manuals of some 15 world religions, and they take the shit seriously. Notwithstanding the stuff that I've seen and heard. But that's what motivates me. And the rest is just, romantic contrivances. Poverty and wealth, romantic contrivances. Love and heartbreak, romantic contrivances. What you're going to get in the end as an artist is you're going to get a body of work. You're going to be either recognized after your death, or you're going to be ground under the cultural wheel. You can have your choice. But the other thing is, everybody's thrown into a more or less hostile environment as the same human being with the same experiences, senses, and human condition. That also needs to be figured out. And I think the Dharma contains a great deal of wisdom, above and beyond other religions. The Dharma and the Upanishads made a huge impact upon me. The Sutra of the Sixth Patriarch as well. So, having read those things, and having taken them seriously and delved into them, there's something to it. And a lot of people are like, oh, all religions say the same thing and stuff. No, they fucking don't. Monotheism is vastly different from these amazing introspective Eastern religions. There's a lot of politics in monotheism, and it doesn't have necessarily the depth of answers or the alleviation of suffering that Eastern religions, in particular Buddhism, has. So, but that's just for me. I'm made for that kind of stuff. I do research well and I correlate things well. I'm very good at philology. If I was educated, formally educated, I'd probably be a philologist. But as it is, it's good enough to know this stuff, and occasionally I run killer tours in the Metropolitan's Egyptian wing, which people should look into.
Amazing.
You can get in touch at lloydfloyd.com, or you can leave a message on my YouTube channel, The Lloyd Floyd Network.
Fantastic.
I still do the tours. I've
Do
done
you
13,
really?
13 so far, and the museum guards endorse it as being better than the official museum tour because I read the hieroglyphs off the monuments for people.
That explains why you spoke the Egyptian before.
And it's because I worshipped in Egyptian fashion for many years. So it's like the only way to understand Egyptian religion is to actually try it out. It's not that hard to do. just like any other religion. You know, by the way, happy Hanukkah. Every Jew's an Egyptian. Let's not forget, Moses was an
Happy
Egyptian
Hanukkah.
prince.
How did you celebrate Hanukkah?
I haven't yet.
Wasn't it yesterday?
It's for 8 days. It's
Oh,
gonna
it's
be
8
it's
days.
today too. It's gonna be a long
Oh,
time.
right. You got anything planned?
No, not really. I'm gonna eat a tremendous amount. That I am. See a few friends and eat a tremendous amount. Because like that to me is what the minor holidays are for. But on Christmas Eve, there's a fantastic tradition among Jews. They all go to a Chinese restaurant off the side of the highway in Jersey and eat pork and shrimp. And I hope to do that this year.
Wow.
That's particularly
So
fun.
you're continuing the tradition.
Yeah, but it's like such modern Judaism because the last things you're supposed to eat is shrimp and pork.
Oh
They
yeah,
all
yeah,
go on
that's right. You're
Christmas
not
Eve.
allowed to eat that.
They
That's
go on
not.
Christmas Eve and do
what
it.
is it called?
Yeah.
No, what apps do you use on your phone?
What apps do I use on my phone? I don't know, whichever ones my manager tells me to use. Which is,
Are you
I
on
guess these days now
Snapchat,
it's
Instagram?
Twitter. I've been told to abandon Facebook. It's for old people. Instagram is better. Twitter, TikTok. That's it so far. And I'm told Twitch is good as well. So I shall venture forth into all those milieu. That is what I shall do.
Any plans on content that you're gonna make once you sign on
I should very much like to dance with this gentleman.
with the music?
No, I definitely have music videos planned. Fantastic music videos where I'm going to, well, you'll see. Yeah, I have music
Stay
videos
tuned,
planned.
ladies and gentlemen.
Tons of like angry music, stuff that people need. There's a lot of feel-good music out there, and it's going to be okay, and we're helping each other and stuff. I don't believe that the anger on the streets has been given a voice, and it needs to. No, I'm an angry New York artist, therefore I shall voice it.
Now, what kind of questions do you think you would ask if you were doing interviews here?
I've done plenty of interviews. First thing I would ask is, are you on drugs? Which one? That's the very first question. Out here, the number one question is, are you on drugs? Sure fucking hope so. Which one? Or ones?
Now, ready for the next question?
Yes.
Do you make videos?
Other people have generally made videos for me, so I've not made videos. You mean do I film videos and make them?
Yeah, like your
I
own
don't
cell
film.
phone.
I'm not a camera guy. I'm usually behind the mic. I haven't even appeared on camera very much. I got all my money from voiceover. All the work from voiceover. The whole resume is fucking voiceover. So now's a good time to diversify, as they say, like in portfolios. And since the playing field has been leveled by COVID, it's up to every artist to reinvent themselves exactly how they want to be for post-COVID 21st century times, which are quite different than the times before. And I think there's a lot to be done, an awful lot to be done.
I agree
That
with
dude
you.
was a guy who was very pushing. Go around, film that guy for a second. I'll get a picture of that motherfucker. This guy was trying to, the bald guy with the glasses on, he's trying to muscle a cigarette off me before he was rather aggressive. And
Really?
he followed me all the way over here, this fucking douchebag. So
Oh,
of
yeah?
course, these days, the modern lightsaber is a camera. You take a camera and take a picture of somebody, it's like having a lightsaber. Yeah, I got you, douche. There we go.
All
That's the
right.
other thing you'll notice in post-COVID times. You don't see any uniformed cops on the streets anymore. People who act funny around you and suspiciously and put pressure on you could very well be undercovers, because it's not like they fired all those cops. They just started walking around the streets, and they do not like people congregating. They do not like people talking like this openly about the socio-economic situation in frank terms. Don't like it, so they seek to disrupt it. You see. You see?
That's a very interesting observation.
Yes, well, it's only from posting up in the streets and observing quietly 24/7 this summer with Trump's money that I discovered that.
You're
It is
kind of
rather
like
odd.
a different animal. You know how like some
Always
animals,
have been.
some animals can smell things or see things that human beings can't see. So you have that special sort of talent.
Spidey sense.
Yeah.
We do try.
I mean, a lot of sometimes
well, it's only
you don't.
if somebody else confirms it and is like, you know what, you've got a point there. But
Yeah.
if you just said,
I
you seem like a pretty
say
sensible
you
guy.
do have a point.
Thank you, sir.
I would have never thought of it if you hadn't brought it up.
Thank you, sir. But it's quite plausible, yes?
Very enlightening indeed.
We do try.
So let us just see what an undercover cop looks like. Right here. Let's just see what
They're always very clean.
this is.
They never have any body hair, so they don't leave forensic evidence behind.
Yeah.
They're rather muscular, usually tall, like SS
Yeah.
men. They have a particular physical build.
Yeah. So kind of
And
like
they always try to disrupt you, even when you're just talking to another human being, which you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
This right here is verboten. This right This right here is maybe verboten, but if there were a table in between us, neither one of us should have masks on. We can cough and spit across the table, no problem. What the fuck?
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
My dad was a professor of tropical medicine at Columbia. A lot of this stuff doesn't make sense. Subways, public restrooms, public water fountains. None of it makes sense. And then all of a sudden you can eat 3 feet away from each other without a mask, but otherwise you stay 6 feet away from every other human being. What the fuck? It certainly doesn't make any kind of march or protest impossible if you have to stay 6 feet away from every other human being.
That's a lot of things that, well, I guess we got another cop here.
Cameras. Guy with a camera on his head.
Yeah.
Hey man,
facial recognition.
Make sure you put this shit out far and wide, bro.
Yeah.
Oddly, the last commercial I did was for facial recognition. The second night of curfew, I did a commercial for the NSA, and it was for facial recognition software being the most adequate means of protecting America. And now, we all have to wear masks, so it's like so much for facial recognition.
Yeah.
I don't care. People can recognize my face. I'm a public figure, so that facial recognition shit doesn't scare me. You better recognize my face. It's about to be everywhere. Let's hope. I should have to have my teeth cleaned first.
Don't have teeth recognition.
Because these fucking cigarettes.
Dental recognition.
That's only after you're dead.
Now, ready for the next question?
I suppose. This is fun.
Tell me about your most successful content. Whether it's commercials, whether it's voice work.
It's the cut scenes from a video game. Well, I mean, you know, financially successful was there are several campaigns and stuff, like GE campaign was really successful. That was a Super Bowl ad. The Tums campaign was successful for me personally because they almost licensed the music from Blue Oyster Cult, Burnin' For You, and made it the theme song of Tums. But they didn't, but they made a mock-up for me and gave it to me. You can see it on my YouTube channel. That was a height.
Very impressive.
The highest commercial success that I got was from the Aflac Pigeon, which is one commercial, $64,000. It was a half an hour's work for $64K. That was the highest grossing commercial of my then agent's career. And the most views on YouTube are the cutscenes from Disney Infinity, the video game, which is a mashup of all 3 of the first Star Wars movies with me as Luke. It's got 3.5 million hits. 3.5 million. So there's that.
That's a very big accomplishment indeed.
It's so much fun to have it out there. It's so much fun to be able to like say like, that's me. Like I did that. If I never did anything else in my life, I've got that. It's just a video game. Video games are a whole different ball game now. I went to the Play NYC convention. People knew who I was before me telling them. I was like, I'm Lloyd Floyd. They're like, can we get a picture with our developer? It's like, yeah. So it's cool as shit.
What are some other positive responses you've gotten from your fans and your followers?
Now I gotta mention, the only reason I have Rockstar gear at all is because I was able to be the grand prize of 5 Make-A-Wish Foundation kids. That is particularly special. One of the kids is no longer with us and had his sister call the producer to make sure to call me to tell me personally it was the best day of the kid's life. So as far as like karma, that is the best. That's an interview.
Yeah.
It's a fucking, he's been going forever. This guy's been interviewing forever. I'm like, keep going. It's fucking great.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
press.
Let me finish up with him first.
It's good press. It's free press.
Now, before we finish, did you want to give a shout out to anyone?
Absolutely. Joe and Carlos in East Harlem. I'll give a shout out to Merton, where Tony is funk. I want to give a shout out to, give a shout out. I don't know, I don't usually give shout outs, but I suppose those people would appreciate them, and so.
Now, do I have your permission to put this on the internet?
Everywhere, far and wide, I am Lloyd Floyd, the Joker Jedi, and lo, I live, and I look better now. I lost 25 pounds in 15 years when I grew my hair.
Oh, congratulations.
Merci, monsieur.
Thanks.